What's going on, everybody? I wanted to do this for a long time. By the way, welcome to the Be Epic podcast. I've wanted to showcase, and when I started on all of this content stuff, I wanted to show people how it works to get better. And, I coach people, I do all that, but I wanted to actually put my money where my mouth is and say, all right, I'm going to show you that this works, okay? And so that's been the goal. That's been the goal by showing things, maybe it's not, hey, it's exactly like the coolest, most fun thing or whatever that we see, but this is what it really is. Golf hasn't changed in centuries. It's still the same game. Equipment's a little different, but you're still hitting the ball towards the hole, and you're still trying to get the ball to go in as few strokes as possible. And so it really hasn't changed much other than a few kind of minor things, or maybe at the elite level it's a little different. But yeah, we wanted to get that part rolling and saying, hey, this is how it does, and I wanted to show it to you. So today's going to be the first kind of recap episode of how that all went. So I started last year actually. I said, all right, hey, I want to start playing tournaments again. I want to be able to compete, all of that. I hadn't really played a lot. I would play maybe one event a year, our section championship. I basically would play an event when we were playing at like a nice course that maybe I wouldn't get to play otherwise. So like last year we played at Chicago Golf. The year before that we played, Medina. We played at, we played at Cog Hill one year. Just fun events, fun courses. Like, all right, yeah, I would like to go play and see what I can do there. But last year I said, all right, no, I want to actually play these tournaments, and I want to actually play better. And so last year was the first year I said, all right, I'm going to commit to playing more events. I'm going to play as many as I can. And so I did. I think I played 5 events last year, maybe 6. And we had a couple rainouts. It would have been more. And what I realized was that I needed to get better at playing competitive golf. It's not the same thing. And that's always the big thing. I think when I work with players and I work with people that are like, oh, I want to go play professionally, or I want to go play on the PGA Tour. They'll say, oh yeah, I can shoot like 68 with my buddies on a Sunday, and maybe do it even at a very tough course. And the first thing I realize is that is not the same thing. That is not the same thing at all. There's pressure when you have to dial it up. You have to hit the ball in the correct spot at the right moment, and you have to deal with, hey, if I don't hit this chip very good, I'm gonna have a hard time making par, maybe make bogey, maybe make double, right? And all of those things start happening. And when you play tournaments, or anybody that's played any kind of competition, even like a member guest, any of that type of stuff, right? Like you usually see weird things happening, like somebody tops a shot that hasn't topped in a while, or they hit like this crazy rock thing. Like when I used to mark courses for tournaments, we'd do like our Illinois Open or Arizona Open, I'm sorry. It's like, all right, we would sit out there and be like, where could the ball go that we haven't thought of? Because people hit the ball backwards. People hit it straight sideways. People hit things, and then it goes bouncing everywhere. It just can happen, and it usually does. So we always were working on that part, but you have to kind of prepare yourself for that. And so I had to get into, I wanted to play better. I wanted to compete better. So last year was like, all right, let's just get out. Let's go play, and I'm going to kind of pay attention to what's going on. I haven't put a ton of work into it, other than me just saying I want to do this. And we're going to go. I'm still going to teach all I teach and all that, which is quite a bit, and go from there. So did all that, and to be honest, I didn't play great. I wasn't super happy with it, but I did have flashes that were good, where it's like, all right, hey, that was actually not too bad. But the biggest thing I noticed was one short game was, beyond atrocious. It was awful. Okay, so I needed help there. And that's another thing I'll talk about is you can't help yourself. It's very difficult to do that. I know how to do. I've coached players that have won professional tournaments. They've done what I want to try to get to. So, I know what I'm looking at. When I watch somebody else do something, I know what I'm looking at. But the problem with that in trying to do that for myself is, you can't have any doubt. If I'm going to work on something, I'm going to practice. You can't have doubts about what's going on. And so that's where I want a second opinion. And in short game's case, I had third opinion. I had my opinion. I had my coach that I work with on my full swing, Alex Theodore, and then I actually went to a short game specialist, James Ridyard, to help me out. And I said, hey, give me what I need, right? Like, I want to make sure I know for sure, because what you don't realize is when you start working on stuff, there's a mental side to that too, is you have to really build confidence. You have to build everything up. So everything has to work towards, I'm 100% sure that I know what I'm doing. And so, again, part of the problem when you're a coach is there's a lot of ideas, right? And I can't see my swing all the time. Yeah, I use live view and all that. I use flight scope, all that. But I can't see it every single time. And so it just leaves me wondering, like, was that it? Was that not it? So it's always nice to get help. And that's what I tell my students I work with in our coaching stuff, that you need to go and work on this, and you need to just work on this a lot. Consistently work on it. Don't change it up. Hey, I'm going to try this now. I'm going to try this. That doesn't work, okay? You're dividing your attention. You're not getting enough reps on the one thing you need. So that was the big thing. And so, I need to work on putting. I need to work on ball striking too. I work on speed, all of that, right? But I drove it well last year. Drove it fairly long. I think I can get a little longer, but I'm not the longest hitter that we have. There's some people that mash the ball, 330, 320, all that pretty easily. I'm never going to get there, but can I get closer to 3? That's the goal. But yeah, it's one of those things where short game was absolutely a killer. So what do we do? What did I do about it? Well, we got in practicing. We got in working on things, and then went in and said, all right, let's get back out here. So had we had a warm-up tournament. We played at a place called Ivanhoe Club. That was a team event. That was kind of fun. It was a little cold that day, but actually hit the ball really well that day. Didn't do anything spectacular. Didn't chip it really well that day, but I didn't hit too many horrible chips. More of just like, hey, I was out of practice playing and not really having a chance to hit the type of chip shots that I was running into, which were more very tight lie, all of that. When you're working inside, you're not getting all of that, okay? So did that. We did okay. Just finished outside of the money there, but went to our first event. It's actually 2 events, but we have our first major, and that was last week, okay? And so we played at a place called Bull Valley here in Illinois. It's kind of notorious for being pretty difficult. We played one-up tee markers. It's 7,000 yards, essentially. It's 69.97, I think, from that set. And this is going to be what it is it's a match play, but the first day is the qualifier, plus it's a tournament in itself. And so we're going to play there. And the rating from this course, I think it's like 75.7. So if you don't know what rating is, that basically means if you're a scratch, would shoot, if you translate to a 0 handicap at this course, you would shoot 76, okay? So that's what that means. But anyway, we played our qualifier. So it's like, all right, I'm going in. It's like, all right, hey, we're going in. I want to do well. It's not figuring it out. I know what I needed to work on. I know what I needed to do. And, we did it. I worked on flight scope, working on my swing, really feel like I'm hitting it well. Got numbers that I like, got, dialed in with short game, started hitting those better. Been working on putting, just working on my putting mat. That's all I really do. Set up, mirrors, all that stuff inside. And then when I just get out to the course and really get dialed in on the speeds. And we did that. So we played our first round. That was last week. And to be honest, it was probably the worst weather. I can think of one other day that might be worse, and that was my senior year of high school. We played down at University of Illinois for our sectionals. And it was like upper 40s, blowing like 20 to 30, and it off and on rain. Now this was 55 degrees, blowing like 10 miles an hour. And then towards the end of the day, it came up like the last 2 holes. I think it was like 20 to 30 miles an hour. It got really brutal, but it poured the entire day. I went through 7 gloves. I'm lucky I have my Red Rooster subscription. I've been collecting gloves. Went through 7 gloves. I played really well. Ended up finishing like top third of the field. As far as match play qualifying, we had 64 players going for that. I was like the 26th seed, I think, out of that. So that's for people that were going to do the match play as well. Hit it really well. Up until about the 12th hole, I still hit it well, but I lost the ability to keep everything dry. And that's the one thing I failed on, was preparation. I brought rain gear. I brought a hat. I had that. I did not bring enough towels. All right? Like, I mean, and I needed to have a strategy. So we have 2 guys in our section, Mike Small, who is University of Illinois coach. He's a fantastic player. And then Andy Michelson, who is also a fantastic player. They shot 3 under. I have no idea how they did that. Unbelievable round. It was so wet, so soft on the fairways. The greens were still firm. Don't know how that happened. The greens are Poana too, so it gets super bumpy. And yeah, I mean, I was playing well, and I was like, man, I can barely like hold on to the club at the end. And they just happened to get through it. But my preparation for that one wasn't great. I shot 81, which again, that's like top third of the field, which normally that's like bottom third. We have some pretty good players, and I beat some pretty good players in seeding, guys that just played in the Club Pro Championship and stuff in New Mexico. And yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal, but I felt really good going into that. Like, hey, I can beat some people. I can beat them, and I could have done better with my preparation. I think I finished double-double, bogey double-double, I think is what I finished on that round. So I was 9 over, and 5 of those strokes on the last 3 holes. So, and I think I had a bogey like 2 before that, or 2 bogeys in a row, something like that. That's all preparation. So that I can ride that in. I can take that momentum and go with it. And that brings us into match play the following day. So the way our match play breaks down is you play 2 matches a day, starting on Monday is the qualifying round. That's a 6-hour shotgun, by the way. It's so brutal. We play in foursomes and all that. We normally play around 4-hour rounds for our tournaments. It's usually pretty good. That one's just always bad. We go to the match play then. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and if you keep winning, you would play 2 matches a day. So I play a fellow director of instruction in our section here, younger kid, and play the match, and honestly played really, really well that morning. I think I won 5 and 3, and not to say he didn't play his best, that's for sure. But I definitely was putting a lot of pressure on him. I felt like I was hitting into greens a lot first, hitting the green a lot. I was getting up and down a lot if I needed to. We had some, it's not an easy course. The greens were firm. They were getting firmer. And one of the things that I took away from this first round that was huge was I played the first 10 holes, and this course has kind of comically narrow fairways. The 11th hole is a 420-yard par 4 uphill. It's got a 9-yard wide fairway. We walked it off. Like, it's comically narrow. And then you get in the rough, by a yard, and the rough will get you. And then there's massive hills on the edges, and like you're playing from some weird spots. And so it was one of those things where I learned really quick that, one, I'm going to have to lag putt it really good, and I didn't do bad. I putted really well from short range, like 4 or 5 feet and in. I think I did really well. I think I only missed like maybe one of those putts. That was actually in the qualifier for the week. I did a complete 360. What I didn't putt well was like 10 to 20 feet. Like, I left a ton of putts short, and that was weird. So I've been working on that. But the other thing that I was happy about was my short game was actually there. I got up and down a few times. That's something I needed to work on, and I found something I can go with. And I'm really, really happy about it. And it's been just a process of trial and error of just, all right, am I doing it enough? And what I found was what I needed to work on, what I needed to change, I just wasn't doing it enough. and I do it in practice. It's fine. You go play, and I think I'm doing it, but then I finally had the nerve to start looking at it, and it's like, no, I'm not doing it. And so that's a problem. You got to go for it. And so I had to just kind of suck it up. So match play was a good choice or a good chance to do it, because if you mess it up, you just lose the hole. And so went for it, said, all right, hey, I got to do whatever I'm working on. I got to do my move. I'm trying to open the face a little more in my short game as I'm going back. And hit some beautiful chips, was getting up and down. And the other thing is, I didn't have to get up and down that much. I think in my first round, I hit 13 or 14 greens, because that was the other thing I did well. As I got through the front nine, what I learned was I was driving the ball in the rough. And it was only like by a yard. I was getting pretty frustrated by that. But then I would hit a shot, and I'm just flying it over every green. And it's like, wait, I'm hitting these flyers. And it's like, wait, that's not ideal. So I'm hitting these flyers. What's going on? And I just wrote, I was like, hey, you have to adjust. You have to adjust. And so finally, on 10, I flew it over the green, which has water. So I hit like a 6-iron from like 188, and I flew the green probably 195-ish, almost 200 yards. And I'm like, all right, we got to do something about this. And so we get to 11, then I'm like, all right, I got to start figuring this flyer thing out. So I had 175 on 11, again, a yard in the rough. And 11 is the one with the comically narrow fairway. I had 9-iron. I pulled 9-iron. 175 to the flag. Flag is in the back right of the green, by the way. And so I'm aiming way left. I'm going to hit it into the middle. It's kind of like a kidney bean shaped green, not very deep. And I shoot the front yardage with the laser, and I see it's like 145 to carry the front. I'm like, all right, here we go. This is what we're going to do. We're going to try to hit it on the front, let it release out of the rough, all that. So I hit the 9, and it ends up flying about, we'll call it 165. Hit it on my line, which was great, but needed to have it take a ridge. I mean, it was a good shot. It was just, this is where it started to it started really going in my favor, and everything kind of worked. And, I kind of closed out the match over the next couple holes, because I figured it out. Because then on the next hole, same thing. I actually drove it in the right rough, short par 4, but I hit a pitching wedge from 160. And then again, was on the green, just comfortably, just putting pressure on my opponent that, hey, you have to now hit the green. And you're hitting, you're also down in the match and all of that. And then next hole was a par 3, hit a great one there, got it on. It just continued on. So put the pressure on and we closed it out. So did that, and then got to go to the afternoon. So the afternoon, I saw my draw. My draw was, I'm now going to play a good friend of mine, Brian Carroll, who is... he was our section player of the year last year. He is a great player, played D1, college, all that stuff. And, he would be a favorite. I think he finished runner-up in this tournament last year. He would be a favorite to be competing to win this thing. And so it's like, all right, sweet. We're going to go to the afternoon. I just played well. He was actually playing in the match in front of us. I could see that he wasn't actually playing great, I would say, because by his standard for sure, because he was, chipping a lot, and he was, it seemed like he was not making a ton of putts, which is something he can do, all of that. So the big thing was, I just went in there and said, hey, I want to be just relax on this. And this is where the other thing I've been doing a lot of work with is something called Focus Calm, which is a band that lets you work on how to be relaxed, how to stay relaxed, how to control your mind, all of that stuff. And so this is where I really saw the benefits, because we played this match, and now again, I know Brian, we had some good talks and all that stuff while we were going, but especially at the end, when we turned to the back nine here, I was up, I believe, 1 at that point. I had 1-9 to go 1 up, and which the 9th hole gave me fits all week, so I was happy to win that. But it was one of those things that started getting more serious. You could tell it changed. Hey, we're not chatting as much. We're playing our shots. And reality, I just did the exact same thing. I had on 10, hit it on. All right, hey, let's hit it on 2-putt. Just kept making pars with the lead. And it's like, all right, hey, you got to go make a birdie. You got to go make that birdie and take it away. And I did that the entire way. I think we both had one bogey on the back. It was both on 13, which is kind of an odd par 3. I lipped out like a 4 or 5 footer, but this was like a different kind of 4 or 5 footer. It was like a one that broke a ton, and like he 3-putted it. That was actually to win by that point. I could have won the hole because he hit the green, but he was in a really, really bad spot. He hit a lot of shots on greens where he just had no chance, which he knew that too. He was hitting it like in these really, really tough spots, and so that's just tough. Like that's the way this course was, and so he hit it there. Again, just kind of kept doing it, kept doing things, hitting it on the green, and you got to go make birdie. All right, it was getting tougher and tougher. He did miss a good chance on 15. I had like 12 feet for birdie, just missed mine. He had like 7 or 8, and he missed his. Again, not great spot. Putting down the hill on Poa annua in the afternoon is not ideal when the greens are rolling probably 11 or 12. They were starting to move. And, we made it through. Then we got to 18, and I was still one up. I had managed to get there. I almost won it on 17. I hit a putt, my best putt of the week, and it just barely missed. But we get to 18, and, this is match play. This is where I hit a drive. 18 gives me fits, too. It's a very tough driving hole for somebody that kind of plays more of a fade off the tee, which is what I do. I draw my irons, fade my driver. And Brian does the same thing. He's a fader pretty much with everything. We both hit our tee shots towards this tree on the right. Now his hit the tree and went left. Mine hit the cart path and went out. So then I had to re-tee. I smoked a drive, hit it on, and I tried to chip it in for 5. Brian actually went across the fairway, and he was kind of blocked out. He had to hit it up in the greenside bunker. He made 5, but we win. I kind of gave him that one. And so we go to the 19th hole. And this was where the focus calm really kicked in, because I hit a drive. Again, I kind of lost it right. Brian hit one in the fairway. He hit a 3-wood. And I almost hit a shot that wouldn't have worked. Looking back on it, there's no chance the shot would have had success. I was kind of blocked out by a tree where I was like right on the edge of the green, and there's water on the edge. And it's like, I could get it to fade. And it's like, wait. You've been getting flyers all day. That means there's no spin on the ball. You can't curve it if there's no spin. And like you're aiming at the water with the match on the line. Like that's just crazy. And so before I pulled the trigger, I just stopped and I was like, wait, this is not right. So I stopped. I thought about it. I was like, wait, change clubs. I have to just play it under the tree, and I'm going to try to get it up by the front part of the green, which I did. Got it actually under the front edge, and then I actually rolled up a putt to about 2 or 3 feet. And that was a huge moment. It was like, hey, you can't, when you're in this mind, if you're feeling like this, you're about to get over a shot, and you have this feeling where it's like, man, this is crazy, this is hectic, don't hit that shot. That's not going to work. So go to something that makes you more relaxed. And because I know what that feels like now, I got to get better at it still, but I know what that feels like, I was able to find it. And then Brian hit a great shot on because he saw I was in trouble a little bit. I had punched it to the front part of the green. He played it very safe, right at where you should, on the green, but it leaves you a downhill putt. I lagged it up there about 3 feet. He rolled his about 5 feet by, and then missed the one, unfortunately, coming back. And then this was the first point of the match where actually I got nervous, because I was like, wait, I could win. And I got kind of a tricky, like 3-footer downhill slider putt. And so, again, just had to get calm, go through what I was doing, and happen to make it. But it was a great match, 19 holes, and it was a ton of fun. And that means I get to come back the next day, which was also cool. So it was fun to go through that. Again, do I feel like I won it? I feel like I played well. I don't feel like Brian played his best. He definitely could play better, and I think he knows that, and his putting let him down a little bit too. It was tough to putt. I don't think it was necessarily anything he was doing. It was tough to read the greens, and the greens were getting bumpy and all that. It got tough, So I definitely rolled it pretty good on those shorter putts, but yeah, that's something that could get you. So I was fortunate there, and but hey, we're moving on, and so Go to the next morning, and I made probably the biggest mistake I made, where I hit the ball really good the day before, and I got away from what I had done, right? Like, I have to keep thinking about, I need something to think about in my swing or in my short game, all of that. I need that. And in my full swing, I just kind of said, hey, let's keep it rolling. That's not it. That's not it. Like, what rolling? Keep what rolling? And I just, from the jump, I didn't hit the ball well. Now, I made some mistakes in this match, and I got rolled pretty good. I lost 5-3 in this one to Jamie Nieto, who has a fantastic story. You can Google him. You probably would find him, Jamie Nieto Golf Pro. It's a crazy story. It's so cool to see him out there. But it's, the first hole I played, I lost the drive just a little bit, but I hit a great shot on. Left the putt just in the jar short for birdie. We have it. Go to 2. He kind of gets in a little trouble. He's going to make bogey. I hit it on the green. 2 was another hole that kind of gave us fits. It played pretty long. It was like 445, but uphill, and just played long all week. I hit a lot of 4 and 5 irons into it, and then this day I actually got to hit a 7 iron because I thought I was going to jump out of the rough, but I didn't. I just got it on the front, but then I 3-putted it. So we have the hole. Then we go to the third hole and have a chance to make like an 8 or 9 footer for birdie, and I don't. And Jamie again is kind of in trouble, and then he makes par, gets up and down for par, and I don't, or I did. I made par, like I didn't, So we're tied. Go to 4, I hit a good one, I hit a bad tee shot. I'm just scrambling, right? I'm not hitting it good. And again, I'm not thinking about what could make my swing better, or like I'm not thinking anything about it. Like, what was the thought that you had that made this work? And so immediately, we go through the match. We go to 5. I pull an iron. I got lucky to have 4, but I got really lucky there. I hit one of the best shots I've hit. Punched it under a tree, ran it up. I mean, it was over the hill through the woods type thing, and got it on the green. But the 5th hole is a short par 3. Pull it, which I kept doing all day, was pulling it. Again, I'm not thinking about anything that I'm missing or anything. I'm just like, keep it rolling and make bogey there, lose the hole. Then the next hole is like the worst, or it's, I don't know the worst hole, but it's just a really weird hole. You hit like a 3 or 4 iron off the tee, and you got like 5 or 6 iron in. And he hits into the hazard left, which is easy to do. And then I get up, and I just follow him right in. Like, can't do that. And then I ended up losing the hole because he played phenomenally from there. I made double. He makes bogey. We both hit it up on the green. But then I have like I'm in the wrong spot, and I've got a putt that breaks 20 feet that I don't get that close, and he has a different one that he does get kind of close. And so that was it, and so we hit there, 7, we tie. His putter definitely heated up, 8. I won 8 actually, which was good. I had a great up and down there. I scrambled my tail off in this match too. So I have so many positives about my short game after this one, because I scrambled on 8. 9, I had to scramble, and I made par to keep it there. He birdies 10, but I scrambled actually to get a par from a fairway over, and I hit a great bunker shot and got up and down, and then he had to make birdie to win the hole. That was good. I had a crazy up and down on 11, and then the 12th hole, he got up and down to save a bogey, and because he hit it in the hazard, and I hit it over the green on this drivable par 4 where I was just dead, and ended up making double, and that one really kind of just turned me off. It was just bad from there, where like, all right, I've gone down 2, or down 3, I should say, with like 4 or 5 to go, and I'm just, that was the one disappointing thing, was like I felt like I lost my mojo a little bit, and it kind of took the wind out of my sails, that one. So it wasn't bad though, but I mean, what's been exciting is all the work been doing, working with the flight scope in here. I haven't really hit balls outside. I just hit in here with my flight scope. I go teach, I work with people online, and so I don't get to hit balls on the range. If I go outside to practice, it's short game. I do that. I don't even practice putting. I practice my putting in here on my perfect putt mat, just so I can see the lines, check my alignments, check my setup. I'll go, I've got a tournament this week. I'm going to go and I'll get out there and judge the speed and all that. But it's been a fun journey with it. It was nice to see it pay off. Again, got to the round of 16 in the match play. I wish I would have played better there, but definitely learned some things and definitely leaving with some confidence. So that's really cool to do. So we're going to keep it up. On the channel here, we'll be doing some live stuff. And, here at the podcast, we'll be talking about it as well. So, yeah, stay tuned. My goal, again, is to share with you the process, share with you what it's like to go through, and share with you my trials and tribulations as I try to be in your shoes and what it's like and what you have to do. And hopefully you can pick up some things, not necessarily, about my swing or, hey, what do you do in your swing? But how do you handle being out there and doing all this stuff? So that would be the stuff that we want to see. So anyway, if you have any questions about it, let me know. But thanks, everybody, and make sure you subscribe. If you listen to this on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, make sure you subscribe. We got plenty more, especially over on YouTube. Make sure you head over. We're going to have plenty more about getting better and all of that stuff, so I'm excited for that, okay? So, again, excited for it. The tournament season's off to a good start. We're in the positive money-wise. I've not lost money in tournament entries yet, so we did make money on that match play, so that's good. It's always a tough thing, but we got another one. Schaumburg Golf Club's up next, so we'll be there, and then after that, a couple weeks is Beverly. I'm excited about that one, so we will go ahead and get out there. All right? If you have any questions, you know where to find me. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Peace.